face you.
Welcome to the Bushido gang. What's up, guys? It's Attack on Samurai, and welcome to my set 2 game for the ADV Global. So, for this set, after I lost to Solwyn, basically it's a double elimination kind of tournament. So, if I win set 1 and set 2, then I can move on to the next round. If I win set 1 and lose set 2, or vice versa, then I would have to have a tiebreaker. So if we can win this set, then we can have our tiebreaker and move on to round 4 of the tournament. So I'm facing Winterains. I don't know too much, but I have heard that he is a really good ADV player. So facing 2 ADV opponents that are like really good in this metagame, it's definitely a learning experience. So yeah, I wasn't really as nervous to play him because I didn't really know of Winterains. But again, when you hear about Solwyn, you're just like, yo, you got to play that dude. But still, this guy's good too. This guy's pretty good too. So before we actually dive into these games, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord Bushido gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. Also follow me on my Pokeamino, and check out my Smogon profile. All those links will be down in the description. So also, I'm trying to reach 250 subs before the end of July. We're just 5 days away from July being over, which is crazy. Like, summer's pretty much almost over at this point. God, but yeah, again, help me reach that goal. So for the first game, I decided to bring a Jolt Spike team because I had no idea what to expect from Winterains. So I pretty much just went with like a standard team. So let's dive in. So turn 1, he leads with Tar as I lead with Jolteon. Now in this kind of position, usually I have to set up. Usually I have to just sub because I need to find out what kind of Tar this is. If it's going to be a special Tar, I got to find that out. If it's going to be a physical Tar, I got to find that out by going for sub. So I'm going to go for the sub here and just scout for what they do. So he's going to go for the Crunch, which told me that he might have been either a mixed Tar or maybe a special Tar. So what I'm going to do is Baton Pass and go right into Metagross to take the next hit, as Crunch is going to do a lot to me. So that did so much, but I didn't really have much of a switch in. I mean, okay, I did have a Skarmory, but I really didn't want to risk him going for like a Fire Blast or something right away. So that's why I went meta right away. And comes his own Skarm as I go for the Meteor Mash, which does, not too much. I get a boost, but again, I'm a lefties Metagross, not Bandit, so I'm not going to really be able to steamroll through that Skarmory. Here comes his own Skarmory to go for the Protect. I'm going to get my Spikes up here. Actually, I'm going to taunt him first because I'm actually a fast Skarm. I'm going to get my Spikes up here. I was kind of scared if he had a Mag, but he didn't have a Mag. He had a Gar. So with him having Gar, I don't have to worry about trapping too much, unless he has a Doug, but he can burn me here with the Skarm. Burn my Skarm. I get up another Spike layer, so that's going to be good. So if I can get up 3 layers, I'm going to be set. He actually goes for the Double Burn. The Double Burn was actually pretty cool. I think he might have been predicting me to go into either a Tar or for me to go back into Metagross. Probably the Tar. He was probably predicting Tar, which is why he did the Double Burn. But so that was a great play on his part, going for the double. But I went for Drill Peck just to keep this thing, just to chip this thing a little bit, just get a little bit of something going. So that way maybe Jolteon can kill it off with the Thunderbolt. So he goes for his own Thunderbolt, which does a lot to me, but I get up my last layer of Spike, which is going to be really, really good for me. So now what I can do here is pretty much let my Skarm go. Or actually, no, I go Jolt to scout for the Thunderbolt, but he goes for the Ice Punch instead. So he's able to catch it, which is really cool. No freeze, thankfully. I go for a Thunderbolt as Blissey's fat ass can come in here and just eat a hit. I get a crit off, but that doesn't really do too much. So I'm kind of forced to go into my physical attacker, being either my Tar or my Metagross. So I do go meta right here, and he's gonna go for the Soft Bow to keep his Blissey nice and healthy. So I go for the Meteor Mash again as he brings in the Skarmory. Now at this point, I think it might be at this point or a little bit later that I go for the Boom. Okay, I do go for the Boom here. I go for the Boom to prevent him from going for Spikes. I go Jolt now. In hindsight, this probably wasn't the best play, but I should have went Gengar. But again, I wasn't sure what kind of Tar he was. Like, again, most of the time, if you see Tar like this, they usually have Pursuit. So I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go, you know, right into Gengar, then knock it out, and then knock out Scarm, and then he brings in Tar, and then what can I do? Because I can't really do much back to this Tar, as my my Gengar doesn't actually have like grass coverage for this. So I'm kind of stuck between like what to really do here. But what I do go for is I go for the Thunderbolt, as he actually sacks the Skarmory, so he decides not to get the spikes up. And now it comes Blissey to take whatever hit I go for. So now what I'm going to do is actually go for the Baton Pass. Actually, I might have subbed here. I did sub. I subbed to see if he would go for like Softball instead, but he went for the Toss instead. So again, that was a really good plan on his part to keep me low. So I Baton Pass out, and I go into my Tyranitar now. So I go Tar, and he goes for the Toss. Now this play right here is probably the most important play of this game, because there's two things that could really happen for me. One, this Tar is actually going to be a DD Tar, but also another thing is that my opponent has two switch-ins, or actually has very little switch-ins for Tar. Like, I could be several things on this Tar. I could be Banded, I could be Special Tar, but Special Tar would just get walled by this, depending on if it has like Focus Punch, because most Special Tar do run Focus Punch. Sometimes, it's not like all the time, but they can run Mixed Punch with it. But so I can very easily threaten out this Blissey, and I could go for a Rock Slide, or I can go for an Earthquake. In hindsight, Earthquake probably would have been a better play, as Tar would actually drop to an Earthquake, and Blissey would get worn down very quickly. And if they have a Doug, then I could also kill that with an Earthquake. Rock Slide was also a good play too, because I could catch the Gengar as well, or I could Focus Punch, which hits all three of them except for Gengar. So still, Focus Punch or Earthquake was the better play here, but instead I go for the Rock Slide, as he's gonna just switch out here and go right into Doug on the Rock Slide. So again, it was a really tough play. It was a really tough play for me to make. Like again, his only Focus Blast, his only Focus Punch answer was Scarm, which is dead now, and also I guess technically the Gengar too. But yeah, in this position, I should have always clicked Focus Punch. Like, no matter what, Focus Punch was going to be the play. So that was my fault, and now my Tar's dead. So with my Tar being dead, I only have, you know, a couple answers to this. I go into Jolt to actually revenge kill this, as I can go for the HP Ice and knock him out. So there goes the Doug, but in comes this thing. So I can't really do much to Blissey at this point. I have to go for the Meteor. I have to go for the I have to go Gengar Disc out for whatever this go for, but it went for the Assault Bolt instead. Now, I have an option here. I could go for a Boom here. Boom would be the right play, but I can't risk the Gengar coming in here, because if Gengar comes in, then what can I do? I just get walled straight up by his own Gengar, and I can also get burned by his Gengar, and then my Metagross can't really do much. Granted, I do have my own Skarmory that can absorb the burn, but still, I don't really want to do that at this point, because all I have is Gar and Metagross left. So what I do here is, I think I actually go Starmie. Okay, never mind. I'm kidding. Wait, I'm stupid. I forgot. My Metagross is already dead. I'm tripping. My fault. Yeah, all I have left are my special attackers. So, literally, I have to Boom with Gengar to get somewhere, but I can't do that because of his own Gengar being here. So, I'm sorry about that brain fart. Please, excuse me for that. I go for the Ice Beam to get some chip. Maybe a Freeze or something, but, you know, don't really get that. So now what I have to do is go for a Thunderbolt just to keep this thing down, but you know, Blissey's just gonna live, because that's just what Blissey does, unfortunately. So I go into Gengar now, as he's gonna go for the Toss, so he's gonna catch my Toss. And now what he could do is that he could easily go Tar, as Tar's gonna be at 76%. Or actually, no, he goes Pert, as I go for the HP Grass. So I catch the Pert, and now that Pert's dead. But now he could go into Tar, and he could just go for the Crunch, or he could Pursuit me. Literally, I'm not in a good position with this Gengar. I have to go for the HP Grass, as it does only 40%. He goes for the Crunch, and it's going to kill me now after Sand damage, and that is going to be a dead Gar. And now all I have left for my special attackers, I get walled by Blissey. So I go for the Pump, I kill off the Tar, but all that's left is this thing to just stare at my soul and just watch me die. So that's pretty much that. This is a Blissey, man. Blissey's such a problem. It really is. It's really a problem for this team. Jolt Spike doesn't really, Jolt Spike can handle it. It can handle this kind of team very well. It's just that if I made the one right play, then Doug would have died and I would have had my Tar healthy. But again, I couldn't make the play, and because of that, I'm just gonna get walled by this Blissey for eternity. I get a para there, but it doesn't really matter because he's just going to be able to toss through me and just, you know, get the recovery going. I can't even switch into Jolteon because Jolteon will die to a toss. So I just have to just beam this down, pump it down. That's all I can do for at this point. But yeah, there's really nothing I can do. I go for the pump. It does 20%. And Blissey can just stay here and just watch me just fall to sand damage and toss. So I go for another pump, but he's just gonna go for the softball because he's not trying to risk a crit or whatever. So like I said, can't really do much here. I go for a Thunderbolt. It does like no percent, and he's just gonna softball it again, and we're just gonna keep going. And you know, pump, miss, Thunderbolt, dead, and that's the game. So yeah, this was tough. This was just a tough game. Again, like Focus Punch Tar really would have went off if I just went for it. If I just punched that button, then a lot of things would have went differently here. A lot of things would have went differently. But again, couldn't make that play, and that's gonna cost me the game 1. So again, that's gonna be game 1. Now I'll move on to game 2 in a quick second. Alright, here's game 2. If I can win for game 2, then we can have a game 3, and that'll really determine who moves on to the next round. So without further ado, let's get this underway. So I lead with Arcanine as Winterains leads with Tar, so I get the Intimidate off. Also, I was kind of predicting for this game that he would bring a bulkier team, as again I did bring my more offensive team, so I had to bring another offensive team to kind of counteract his defensive squad. I was thinking that he could have like maybe like a Magdoll kind of, or not Magdoll, more like a Milo, Scarm, Milo, Scarm, or a Scarm Blitzcore with like Milo plus Claydol. That's a really good defensive core, as you'll be able to spin away hazards and again make sure that you keep Blissey and Milotic healthy. So again, it's a very common defensive core for teams like these, and usually they run Tar. So yeah, again, this team right here, as you can, maybe you probably won't recognize it, but this is actually a team that I used in the live previously. This is actually my Arcanine Kamikaze team. So basically the idea of the team is just to gain momentum from Boom and then have Arcanine go off. So that's why I wanted to bring for this game, and I'm going to use it right here. I'm going to go into Metagross as he's going to go into the Milotic. So what he can do here is scout for the Boom or whatever. I go into Celebi as he's going to go right into Skarmory. So I'm going to start spiking, I'm going to start Leech Seeding this, as my Celebi does have Leech Seed, but he hard switches into Dougie. So what that means is that he could go for the HP Bug, but he knows he can't kill me from this range, so he has to switch out and go back into Skarm. I go for the Psychic to get some chip on it. Not too much chip, as Skarmory is a very fat mon, but I can also Leech Seed. So I'm going to Leech Seed here, and it's going to spike up here. So now what I can do is that I can actually go into my Cloyster and start getting up spikes, or I can go Claydol, which I do. I go Claydol, and he goes into Blissey, so I'm going to spin on this right now, because I have to get these hazards away. So I'm going to spin here and get the spin off. Goes for the beam. It does a lot to me, but my Claydol is very bulky, so it's able to take the beam decently well. So now what I can do is go into Cloyster and get my spike up, as he's going to go right into the Skarmory. So again, what I need to do for Arcanine to really do what I needed to do, I need to get spikes up, and I really need to start wearing him down. So he's going to get the spike up first, but I'm going to start spiking up here, as he's going to go for the Protect as I go for my spike. So I guess he was baiting for pump for Boom, or maybe like for Surf or Ice Beam. I do go for another spike though, as he's going to start phasing me out, and now in comes my Celebi. I could Leech Seed this, and again just keep applying pressure to the Skarmory and just keep this as low as possible. He's going to go for another spike, as now I can just Leech Seed again and just make sure that I wear this Skarm down as low as I can. So now in comes the Blissey, as I go for a double Leech Seed. Actually, no, I Calm Mind here. I'm kidding. I go for the Calm Mind. But what he could do is he could go for a T-Wave, or he could Toxic me, trying to force me out. I go for the Leech Seed, as he does go for the T-Wave, so he does reveal T-Wave right there. But again, like I said, I can get my recovery going and just start Leech Seeding this down, as I'm going to get a lot of health off that. Now when it comes to the Tar, what I do is I switch and go right into Claydol, as I can spin on this. So I'm actually faster than this Claydol, so I can spin right now, as he's going to bring in his own Claydol. So he wants to get the spin off as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into my Cloyster, because I really want to try and put more pressure on this. He's going to spin here, as now I can go for the Surf, or I could spike here. I do believe I went for the Ice Beam though. Or no, wait, no, I went Meta. I think I went Metagross in case they wanted to go for Boom or something. So that's why I switched right there. Because Meta could take a Boom from a Claydol. He could have Earthquake as well, but I really don't think in that position he would do that. So that's why I kind of predicted maybe he would Boom or something. Even though Boom would be a little too premature since it's a little too early in the game for him to do that. So maybe that was just a bad play on my part, or I should have just went for the Spike just to put more pressure on him. But my Loaded comes in here, and now what I can do is I can just switch and go into Lax. As Lax is very good against cores like these, as he can really start hammering down and just cursing up and really start to get some damage going. Because with a curse up, it can definitely do a good chunk to the Skarmory, around like 30% to it after maybe a +2. Even +1 does like 24%, as Skarmory doesn't really run a lot of defense investment in this metagame. So I could definitely go for a curse here, or I can just body slam here. I do believe I went for the curse. No, I went for the body slam first. So I go for a body slam, trying to get like some kind of para going. Again, keeping this paralyzed would actually be pretty beneficial for me. He's going to protect as I go for the curse. So I'm going to curse up here. And again, I want to make sure that I keep this Skarmory as low as possible. He's going to try and phase me out, predicting another curse. But yeah, I do go for the body slam. And no para, but he does get the roar off, and Claydol comes in here. This is actually pretty good for me, as now I can just go for the spin. He's going to go for the drill peck and get a little bit of damage on me, but I can spin here. Again, removing the Hadroots. I can go right back into my Cloyster and again put those spikes back up and really start pressuring him. He's going to go for the drill peck again, but now I really need to get my spikes going, so I'm definitely going to spike up here, as he can go right into the Milotic. So now spikes are up. He can go for Toxic. He could go for Surf. He can do whatever he wants, but I'm definitely switching out because I'm not letting this get toxic. I'm letting Celebi get toxic because it does have natural cure, so I'm okay with this getting toxic and just switching out. I can also lead seed here too, and again, just make sure I keep the pressure going. But instead, I'm gonna go back into Lax. It's like I said, Lax can really do some pressure. Now Claydol comes in here. This play right here is pretty important because he needs to spin. Like again, he can't keep these spikes up because that's really gonna hurt his defensive core. So he needs to spin here. What I can do here is I can actually go for a curse, or I can go for the straight up Shadow Ball. And really get some damage going on this Claydol. So I do go for the Shadow Ball, as he actually goes for an Earthquake instead. So Shadow Ball is actually going to get a crit on him. That crit definitely mattered a lot. I'm pretty sure this Claydol was defensive, or was like physically defensive. But then again, Earthquake did a lot more, so maybe he was like adamant with some defense investment. But so that Shadow Ball crit definitely mattered a lot for him. As now he can't remove spikes. So that's pretty bad for him. But now in comes Tar. So this is actually a pretty scary position because I don't know if he's going to be like a mixed Tar or if he's going to be like Focus Punch or whatever. So I make the play to go right into my Claydol, since I know I can take Focus Punch. He's going to go for the Earthquake instead. And now what he can do is he can go right into the Skarmory, as I go right into Cloyster again to put pressure on him. So in comes the Skarm. Now what I can do is get the spikes up, and I can really start getting some damage going. So I spike up here. He's going to spike up on his own. I get up my third layer, as he goes for a second layer, I believe, or he goes for the Protect. No, I go for the third layer. He's going to go for a second layer, and now I can start surfing this, and again, just keeping this low. That's my main goal with Cloyster, just keep this low. But instead I'm actually going to go for the spin. Honestly, I don't think spinning there was the right play. Like, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think spinning there was the right play. What I should have been doing was to just, again, wear this down. So I should have been surfing, but had I been doing that, he could have easily just either switched into my Milotic to... Well, I mean, he would have been forced to switch into my Milotic to get recovery going. So, still, surfing there was actually the better play instead of just, you know, going for the spin. Because he could have Toxic, but he unfortunately doesn't have Toxic, so I can still spin on this forever. And my recovery is still getting a lot higher. So, still, Claydol is doing its job. I go into Lax now, as he's going to go for the Spike. So now what I can do is I can curse up again, or I can go for the Body Slam Raw. I do go for the curse, and now I really need to get a parry here, and again, just keep applying pressure to the Skarmory. Again, if I can keep doing that, then I'm set. So he's going to go for the roar again. No parry, but he does roar me out, and now in comes Metagross. This isn't the best for me because I don't need a boom on this, so I'm going to go back into Claydol again, as he's going to go for the Protect. I can go for the spin again, and again, remove those spikes. So I'm going to keep doing this for a couple more turns, as now I can spin here. And now in this position, what I need to do is I need to spin here again. Actually, I'll go for the Shadow Ball to get some chip, but it doesn't do too much, as, you know, in this generation, in case you didn't know, in Gen 3 and Gen 4, even in Gen 5, ghost types are actually resisted to Steel. so that's why Shadow Ball only did 6% to that. Anyways, he goes for the Drill Peck again as I go for the spin again. So again, we're gonna keep doing this Drill Peck or this Claydol kind of thing. So kind of like how it was with me versus Solwyn when I was in this position where he had to keep spinning pretty much, and I had to keep trying to wear him down. But he can still go for spikes because again, Skarmory versus a spinner isn't always gonna go well because it can always just spin infinitely. Especially if they have a way to deal with Skarmory too. So yeah, anyways, he went for the Drill Peck as I bring in Arcanine. So I can take the Drill Peck pretty easily, and now my Arcanine can really do some damage. As you can see, my load is going to take 76%, or it's going to be at 76% after spikes. Dougie's going to get worn down very quickly. Tar is going to get worn down pretty quickly, especially after a Fire Blast plus HP Grass. I could potentially kill it. However, the Blissey will be very annoying as I can't really wear it down because I don't have enough investment to really put enough damage onto that Blissey to really warrant it. So I go for the Fire Blast, or actually I go for the HP Grass. No, wait, no, I did go for the Fire Blast. I did go for the Fire Blast there. As I can go for it again. He goes to my Lodic, and this crit is going to hurt. So unfortunately, he got hit with that crit, and he got a burn. So that sucks a lot, and now he's forced to sack on my Lodic. So my Lodic is going to get sacked here as I go for the HP Grass. In this position, I was like, I have agility on this set. Agility would have been a really crazy play. I could have done it on the Skarmory too. I could have done it on the Protect. If I did that, oh my gosh. If I went for the agility onto the Skarmory Protect, then I would have outsped the Doug, and I wouldn't have had to worry about this trapping me. But unfortunately, it is going to trap me right here, and I am just out of range to not kill this with an E-Speed. So unfortunately, I have very little investment in attack. So that is not going to kill Doug, and he's going to be able to kill me off with the Earthquake. Now I can go into Claydol as he can bring in the Skarmory. I go for the Shadow Ball, again thinking he'd sack the Doug, but he's just going to keep it as a sack for later instead. So I go Cloyster again as he can go for the Spike. So again, Cloyster's job is just to keep surfing this down, so I am going to surf this down. Again, keep this low, he's going to go for the Roar. In comes Metagross. I could boom here, but I cannot boom here. I need this to be healthy, so I'm going to go for the Meteor Mash instead. As I am banded on this, so again, I can go for it again and just make sure I keep this low. 32% is not that bad. He's going to phase me out again. In comes the Lax, so I can curse again and really get some pressure going and just body slam this down. Again, trying to fish for a para or something. So I do go for the curse on the Protect, and I'm going to body slam this down and keep this Skarmory as low as possible. So I go for it. I do get some damage, and I do get a para. So now this means that I can pretty much deal with this with my Cloyster, and I can also deal with this with Celebi as I can get some Leech Seed damage going. So I am going to go for the Leech Seed here as he can go for he was probably going to go for the Drill Peck, or he's going to phase me out. Probably go for the Drill Peck though. But we are going to get some Leech Seed going. Now he goes Tar as I go for the Leech Seed again. When I go for the Calm Mind, that was bad. Calm Mind in there might not have been the better play. I mean, might not have been the play. Like, he was always going to switch there. So Leech Seed was definitely a much more aggressive play, and plus it would have killed Doug, and I would have got some more health on from the Blissey too. But yeah, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to go right into Claydol as he's gonna predict that very nicely and go for the HP Bug, and that's gonna do a lot to me. But my Claydol is very bulky, so it's able to take the HP Bug decently well. He's gonna go into Skarm as I go for the Earthquake, so he is gonna catch my Quake. I'm gonna spin here to again remove those spikes because I want to make sure that my actually no, I go for the Boom. So I boom here because at this point, honestly, no, spinning there would have been the better play. Spinning there probably would have been the better play because we still could have got up a spike anyway. So booming there was better because that prevents him from going for another spike. So still in this position, Cloyster can pretty much win here as I can outspeed the Blissey. Doug's gonna die to spikes, and Surf's gonna do a lot to the Tar. So it could still be pretty close though. It can still be pretty close, especially because he went for the Protect there. So now I go for the Surf as he brings in the Blissey. So Surf's not going to do very much to that, but he can definitely just recover here. So I'm forced to go back into Metagross as he's going to actually predict that and go for the T-Wave. So actually no, not yet. I don't think he goes for it yet, but he goes for it eventually. But I do go for the Meteor Mash again. Does a lot. He does get the para there, and that is going to suck because now Tar can outspeed, and he can just go into that pretty freely and just Earthquake me. So he is going to knock out my Metagross. And now I have to go into Cloyster and hope that Surf can kill. Surf might have a chance to kill, but most Tars are pretty bulky, so they could potentially live a Surf at this range. So again, if I can get the Surf off, then I'm set. But if I don't get it, then it's still kind of close. I don't have a lot of investment into my defense, so Rock Slide could potentially kill me. So still, this is a very, very like clutch moment right here. But still, even if this did happen, Lax plus Celebi could still win. So it's still not in the worst. It's still not the worst thing for me here. If he did land the Rock Slide, which unfortunately he did not land the Rock Slide, so that is pretty much going to be the game at this point, because Surf will knock that out. Surf will definitely beat down the Skarmory, and he just forfeits. So yeah, again, if he landed that Rock Slide, I still think I had a shot with the Celebi plus us and Relax. Granted, I don't know. It would have been close. It still would have been close though. If he did get it, but still, I don't know. No, he was dead anyway. He was dead anyway if you tried to pivot around. So regardless, this was the game. But still, this was a very, very close game. It could have been a very close game. But the Fire Blast crit on the Milotic plus the burn definitely turned things around in my favor. Same with the crit on Claydol. Those two definitely mattered quite a bit. Because normally Claydol would take like maybe 40% from a Shadow Ball from Snorlax. So still, that mattered quite a bit, and that is going to be the game. So I do say that I did play this game pretty nicely with Cloyster. But however, I think I should have played Celebi a little bit more conservatively and still tried to leech seed. I definitely should have just leech seeded as much as possible, because I was not going to hit this, and Psychic, I could only hit like 3 things on this team with Celebi. Well, actually 4, because Skarmory can still get worn down after like +2 or +3. But I would have to deal with Drill Peck plus phasing. So still, it was a very close game, and that is going to be game 2 for this set. So now that I won game 2, that's going to move me on to game 3. So this is going to be it. This is actually going to be the one. So let's see what happens in game 3. So give me a second. Alright, this is it. Game 3. If I can beat Winterains in this game, then I can move on to the tiebreaker for round 3, and then potentially move on to round 4 for the ADV Global. So this is it. Let's see what happens. For this game, I wasn't really sure what he was going to bring, so I kind of brought just another heavy offensive team. I thought maybe he'd bring something similar to maybe the first game. So again, I was just okay with bringing a more offensive team. This team that I have is actually used by another really good ADV player, Cowboy Dan. So I wanted to try his team out. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. So turn 1, he leads with Zapdos as I lead with Jolteon. So I go into Perch to scout for the T-Wave, as he does go for the T-Wave. Now I'm going to scout for HP Grass and Gotar. This play right here, don't ever do this. Don't be like me and predict HP Grass and go into Tar. That's a horrible play. What I should have done was went right back into the Jolteon. Potentially. Either that, or I should have went into a better Grass Resist. But Tar is not an HP Grass answer. That does way too much damage. So because of that, I'm going to get punished for it. And I actually go for the Focus Punch. But he has Baton Pass. So Gengar can come in here easily and just eat the Focus Punch. Actually, just phase through it. So that's bad. He's gonna burn me here as I go Skarmory. So it's not looking too great. I'm burned and my Tar is weakened. Those are very bad statements to hear. Very bad statements. All I can do is go for a Spike just to try to wear down this Gengar. He goes for Fire Punch. So Fire Punch Gengar usually doesn't have Thunderbolt or Ice Punch. Most of the time they have HP Grass to deal with Pert. Yeah, most of the time they have HP Grass to deal with Pert, or they would have like maybe Fire Punch or Ice Punch, but again, most of the time you don't see that. It would be like Willow, Fire Punch, HP Grass, then Explosion. But again, Volt Beam Gengar is more common. But yeah, I go for a Spike here. He can go for another Fire Punch. I thought maybe he'd have a Thunderbolt or something, but yeah, he's gonna go for the double burn. I go for another spike, so I get 2 layers up. But now I'm pretty worn down by the Fire Punch, but I'm still out of range potentially. But he gets the high roll, and that's gonna be a dead Skarmory. So I get 2 layers up. I go Arrow here. Aerodactyl is very strong. This is a very, very strong Bandit Mon, and it can definitely do quite a bit of work. Rock Slide can dominate Gengar. Rock Slide can dominate Zapdos. His only answer would be a Swampert, and unfortunately he has a Swampert. So I go for the Rock Slide. It does like 21%, so that Pert is definitely like defensively oriented. So I go into Gengar as he goes for the pump. I had no switching for this. I had no switching for this. Like sacking Skarmory to that was probably the worst play I could have done, man. Like I really didn't know what to do in this encounter. Like Gengar versus Skarmory, especially if it's Fire Punch Skarmory, I thought maybe I could handle it, but I guess I really should just be preserving my Skarmory and just keep it healthy for this kind of team. But yeah, that really sucks that I lost that because now Pump's gonna do way too much to my whole team, and Pump can do a lot to my Pert. It'll do like 40% at most if he's more of a offensive Pert. Actually, I could do a little bit over that because this Pert doesn't have a lot of Spadef investment. But this one's tough. This one's very tough. So I can go for the burn, or I can go for the Giga Drain. I do go for the burn. But now I'm trying to bait him to stay in here. And I'm gonna try and go for the Giga Drain. But he's gonna catch my bait and he's gonna go into Gengar. So he caught me there. He caught me there pretty nicely. I can get my lefties up, but that Gengar is a very, very big problem because he could just burn me or go for an HP Grass, which he is going to go for right now, as I do scout for it. So I scout for the HP Grass, I go for the Protect, and I can take it. Most of the time in ADV, Gengar doesn't really run a lot of special attack investment, so in some cases, Pert can live in HP Grass and can revenge kill it with the Hydro Pump. I just didn't really feel that, so I was not going to go for that play at all. I was not going to go for it, but it was in my favor. Actually, I could show the calc. Let me see if I could find it. Oh, wait, that's the wrong game. Let me find the calc real quick. I know you guys can't see the calc, but I'll just say it. Let's see. Swampert versus... I'll make it offensive. Well, actually, the one I have is more defensively oriented, so let me find the defensive Pert. So defensive Pert usually runs Earthquake, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, and Protect. Now let me find the set for Gengar. So Gengar was probably an all-out attacking one. No, not that one, but no, not that one. Let me find the other one. Cause it was like mix one. No, not that one. That one's old. These Gengar sets are actually pretty old. Status Gar. Okay, well this one you could probably just put like Will-O-Wisp over it, but yeah, Giga Drain does 63 to 74%. So if I'm in torrent range, that probably would have killed. Or that would have kept it like very low. So I'll put it at like 20. Actually, I'll put like 25%. Wait, no, hold up, I'm doing it wrong. 25%. So 25%. Hydro Pump would have done a good chunk, especially after sand damage. After sand damage, it actually would have dropped. But again, I'm assuming that he had HP Grass. So, or I mean, he had HP Grass. So I think that hold up, I can't spell grass. Oh, there we go. Grass. Okay, so with HP Grass, I could have lived that. So Hydro Pump was in my favor, but I really didn't feel comfortable with that because I still have to deal with his own Pert. While I do have Gengar that could deal with it anyway, I just really didn't feel comfortable with that roll. So I was just like, I'm going to go Jolt. And he catches it and goes for the Will-O-Wisp. So now what he could do is he could easily go for a Boom, or he could go for the, or he could just switch out and go into Gengar, or go into Pert. But he's going to catch me, and there goes my Jolteon. So losing Jolteon was probably the worst thing that could have happened next to my Pert getting, or not my Pert, my Skarmory getting messed up. So, yeah, and my Gengar getting messed up, and the HP Grass and the Tar. So, yeah, losing Jolteon was probably the worst thing that could have happened here, because it actually was very solid for this matchup, as you're going to see the rest of the Mons. But, yeah, losing this was definitely a turning point for Winterains. So, yeah, in comes my Pert as he can go Zapdos. So I'm going to scout for the HP Grass as I go for the Protect. So he does go for, actually I go for the Pump anyway, I think. But I miss. So that miss sucks. That miss sucks a lot. Let me show you the calc on that. His Zapdos was actually more Spadef invested. So let's see. Yeah, his Zapdos was more specially defensive. So I think, let me put Zapdos. Let's go for the Rest one or Agility Pass mix. I don't like the mix one. The mix one doesn't make too much sense to me. Hold up, wait a minute. Again, from what I've been seeing, there's been a lot of like different versions. The special one has been the one that's been catching a lot of that's been getting a lot of attention. So, well, this is Modest. That's not what I want to see. That's definitely not what I want to see. But I guess that's kind of an example. Let me just put HP investment on it. Let's put HP investment. Okay. So, Hydro Pump would do 42 to 50% in torrent range. Ooh. But it actually did a little bit more than that, I believe. So, because when I went for it later, it did like a little bit over 50%. So maybe he was. I still think he was more invested in Spadef. Yeah, he was more invested in Spadef than special attack. So yeah, I go into Gengar here as he can go for the Thunderbolt and catch my Gengar. So there goes that. So now I'm down 3, or now I'm down 3 and he's up 5. So it's not looking too good. And Skarmory can come in here easily as I go for the Double Edge. I went Double Edge in case he wanted to go Pert, but he caught me right there and went right for the Skarmory. So again, he made the right play there. Catching it. I go into Tar now as I can go for the Rock Slide, but he's going to get up another Spike. So that's 2 layers up now. It's not looking too great. I go for the Rock Slide as he's going to Protect. So Rock Slide will still do a decent chunk to Pert, but not like enough. So I still have to go for it anyway. I go for the Pert to scout for him to go for something else, but he goes for the Spike instead. So now there's 3 layers up. So I really can't do much here. He goes for the Zapdos as I go for the Hydro Pump. So it did 53%. So with it being 53%, again, that told me that he was definitely more invested. He was more of a specially invested Zapdos, or more like HP invested then. But that's gonna matter quite a bit because you know, I have to go Arrow here on the HP Grass, and I can go for the Rock Slide here pretty easily, as he can easily go into Skarmory now. So Skarmory's gonna come back in on the Rock Slide as I do go for it. It does a good chunk, but it's still not gonna be great. Honestly, he goes for the Protect. He goes for the Protect again. As I go for the Rock Slide again. So I really want to keep Rock Sliding and just keep weakening this. I go into Pert as he goes for the Roar. So that was a great play catching me. Again, I thought maybe he'd go for a Drill Peck or maybe something else, but in the position he's in, he already has 3 layers up with Spikes. Yeah, he has 3 layers up with Spikes, and it's really not too great for me. So losing Pert sucks, because Pert really could have went off. Hydro Pump would have actually knocked out the Zapdos had I landed the first one, and Pump definitely would have worn down this Skarmory and kept it low. But yeah, now I pretty much lose my Pert, which is really, really bad. I go Tar now, as what he's going to do is go for the Protect. I can go for the Rock Slide here. Rock Slide will do a good chunk to it, as he's going to Protect here again. So again, I go for the Rock Slide, and Rock Slide will do a lot. I actually get a crit there, so that crit definitely mattered too. Now you can go into Zapdos, as he's pretty much just gonna go for the HP Grass and kill me off right here. So there goes my Tar. Now all I have left is my own Zapdos, is my own Aerodactyl and my own Swampert. So I go for the Double Edge as it's free. In hindsight, I think Rock Slide would have been better. Honestly, I think Rock Slide would have been better than Double Edge, because Rock Slide would still do a decent chunk to the Pert, and I still don't know if the Pert's gonna be slow or not. But still, this was a really tough game, man. This was a very tough game. I can go for the Double Edge, but it's not going to do very much. I go into Pert, as he can go for the DD, and that's pretty much going to be the game, as he can just sweep me now. And just finish off my Pert and my Arrow, as Arrow is just going to... I mean, it can outspeed the T-Tar, since T-Tar is going to be bulky. Bulky DD Tar is pretty common, but yeah. Earthquake won't do enough, and I'm going to be dead, and that's going to be the game. So yeah, that is GG to Winterains, and he's gonna move on to round 4 of the tournament. So yeah, that ends my run for the ADV Global. So hold on, let me just pause right here. So I'm pretty okay with this. Oh wait, hold up. I'm pretty okay with this. I I definitely think I had a pretty good run in the ADV Global. Again, I've only started playing this meta game like only 4 months ago. So for me to get this far is actually incredible. So I just want to say that I'm actually pretty happy about how this whole tournament ended up. I definitely know I'll come back stronger for the next ADV tournament. So just be on the lookout for the next one. But GG to Winterains. He definitely deserved it, especially after the second game with all the hacks that was going on. But still, man, this one was pretty was a pretty good one. Again, he called me on every turn. Again, with the Gengar burn and the boom, and plus with the it was pretty much the Gengar. The Gengar was doing most of the work. The Gengar really did get me a couple times. Like, it was really difficult to play around that Mon. It was very difficult to play around it because I really couldn't afford my tar to get burned since this tar is actually choice band tar. Like, I really it was just tough, man. It was just a tough position I was in. Also, again, letting my target weaken was also pretty bad too. Like, HP grass, I should have never went into an HP grass on that Zapdos switch in. Definitely Gengar was a better option as Gengar could take on both hits. But I would have to fear the T wave. So still, it was a tough position I was in. But Gengar definitely could have brought this back had I played it a little bit more, a little bit better. But yeah. So this matchup was pretty crazy though. Definitely could have went both ways. But that is going to be that for the ADV Global and my run for it. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord Bushido gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. Also, follow me on my Pokeamino, and check out my Smogon profile. All those links will be down in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed this series. I had a blast playing this series, man. This series was just fantastic. Like, just the whole tournament in general was just fantastic. I loved every moment of it. So, hopefully, again, we can do better in the next one, in the next ADV tournament coming up. So yeah, again, that's going to be it, guys. Be safe, wash your hands, and I will see you in the next ADV Showdown Live. So, well, yeah, because I will be, recording a Showdown Live after this. But, yeah, peace out, y'all. Be safe, and I'm out. Oh, wait, crap. I'm not recording on OBS.